Oh, yes. Hey.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome, everyone, to Advanced Studio Classroom live stream. We are coming to you live. Today, Monday, June 3rd. We're happy to have you with us to discuss some English, learn some English, practice using it. As always, we're pivoting off of one of the articles in our Advanced magazine. Here's the June issue right here. And this week, we're talking about not today's article, but an article that you'll see later in the week for this week on business.
That's right. That's
business jargon.
That's why we are business edition.
Right. And please do welcome my vice president here, teacher David. Always good to have you back with us.
Wonderful to be here, Peter. Thanks for having me on the stream.
Looking very business-like, I must say.
Business edition. That's what I call this.
That's right. So let's go straight to our poll question and get a sense of what y'all are like out there in terms of business. Are you part of the business world? That's our poll question. I'm an executive. I'm a manager. I'm an employee. I work at a nonprofit, which will have some overlap with business language, business lingo, but obviously is not a strictly speaking business if it's not for profit.
That's right.
Now, David, have you worked in both profit and nonprofit?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, nonprofits kind of maybe more informally, like volunteering with stuff in college. I worked at church, not on staff, but I was a deacon at our.
That's right.
Our church. We were served together in church for many years.
Yes. He dressed like this all the time.
I did all the time. But other than that, I never really worked much in like a real business. I think I worked for some companies, but a lot of them were some of kind of like warehouse jobs. So I was coming to work in blue jeans and flannels and lifting 50 to 70 pound boxes.
That's sweet. That's sweet. No, I worked at a bank back in the States
That's business.
when I was a younger man. Had to wear a tie and everything. It was just a means to an end, though, for me, because I was involved in theater at that time. So I needed something to pay the bills, put food on the table. So I worked at a bank, and then I would go rehearse and perform at night, change my outfit completely, although sometimes I would end up playing a businessman in the theater, so it was like I was wearing a tie for 12 hours a day sometimes. Depended on the show, though. But again, tell us, are you part of the business world, whether you're an executive,
High level.
a manager,
A little lower.
an employee,
One of the people.
or you work at a nonprofit?
Different world altogether.
Yes. And whatever your answer, of course, you're welcome here at the live stream. Our focus is on business today, but we know that a lot of folks are not in business as such. So we have a big tent here. Everybody's welcome.
Really good to see you guys too.
Hey, JJ, good to see you too. Hi. And Steve, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Agatha, do you have a dress code at the studio classroom? Today we do.
Today we do.
Yes, when we're talking about
Business.
then you gotta, dress appropriately is what we thought.
Although we're not allowed to wear blue jeans. Yeah, especially not ripped blue jeans.
How far is the camera showing us right now? Can you see what?
He's got some nice slacks on. I'm wearing cargo pants, so don't show my pants.
Yeah. But the point is, no blue jeans.
No blue jeans.
Nothing to do with business.
That's right.
But let's give you some vocab. So we're here to practice English. Let's give you some vocab. Hey, B, good to see you.
And we got a business employee.
Got a business employee, Uni.
Uni,
good to see you.
Good to see you.
And of course, it's a funny word, employee, because even executives and managers are technically employees of the company.
That's right.
I learned this in researching some business terms, that an employee is a term also used to describe someone who is not a manager or not an executive in terms of their place in the hierarchy of the business. Someone who isn't any of those things is simply referred to as an employee, even though you can also use the term to describe the CEO and the managers and so on.
B thinks we look good today.
Oh, B, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Thank you very much.
business kind of brings out the best in our wardrobe, maybe.
Business
bring out the best, yes.
Slippers
under the table, JJ, that's for us to know.
No shoes.
Oh, well.
No shoes.
I was going to play off of that for a little bit, but as you can see, no shoes on the man, but a good head for business up top here.
Good head for business.
Let's get into some vocab for business. What you'll find here, these are not going to be really technical business terms as much as they are terms that you will hear in a business context, sometimes out of a business context too. And so we hope they'll be more helpful for you that way because you don't have to have an MBA in order to use these terms or understand them. First we have on the back burner. Something is on the back burner. David, what does that mean?
Well, so in the States, we often have stoves. So this is it comes from a cooking analogy. Our stoves oftentimes have 4 different burners or different places where you could put a pot or a frying pan and cook things. I remember when my mom would be cooking maybe a more complicated meal, there would be the thing that she's actively cooking, maybe frying some vegetables, and then on the back burner is something that is cooking slowly, maybe some soup or some rice on the back burner, just there slowly cooking while other things are being actively cooked on the front burners.
Right.
So when we're talking about business, what it means is if you put something on the back burner, it means that you're not actively working on that project or engaging with that idea, but you're keeping it available that maybe later on you'll do some more work with it, maybe later on it will become more important.
Right, you're not dismissing it entirely. You're not saying, let's just get rid of it. Let's put it on the back burner. We'll come back to it later. Think about it some more then. Got to focus on something else right now. Another one we have is bandwidth. Bandwidth, a sort of very 21st century business term in this age of the internet that we live in. When you say, oh, you might hear someone say, I just don't have the bandwidth. I'd like to help you on this project in some way, but I just don't have the bandwidth. I've got so many other projects going on.
Yeah.
It means you don't have the energy, you don't have the time, you don't have the resources, the focus, you don't have the bandwidth.
That's right.
Just like a internet connection of a certain kind would not have enough energy or literal bandwidth. I'm not a technician, so I couldn't give you an exact definition of bandwidth, but I know what it means in a figurative sense.
Yeah.
You're a tech guy, actually. I should have asked you what bandwidth
Oh, you nailed
means.
it, though.
Oh,
bandwidth,
I got it?
It just basically means like a range within which energy can flow, or a range wherein a certain wave is contained. So basically, when we're talking about it with business, it's like you said, how much work can you do based upon how much work you already have or can handle.
There we go. I had more bandwidth than I thought.
Yeah, more bandwidth than you thought.
Great. Another one is, here's a good phrase, keep me in the loop. Or I might tell David, be sure to keep Johnson in the loop on this project. What do we mean by that?
Make sure that they're aware of things that are going on. So it's like when you're sending an email about this project, you can CC this other person in the email so that they are aware of all the changes and all the news concerning something. Right.
And Steve, we have a comment. Thank you, Steve. I remembered once in studio classrooms reading said about the dress code during an interview, people should just wear nice and clean clothing such as suits and tie, but don't wear some kind of suit here. The heart icon is obscuring the word, so I can't quite see it. But we feel you, Steve. We thank you for your love.
Maybe it says cat suit. I think it says cat suit. I think it actually says cat suit.
Well, that's...
I wore a cat suit at my studio classroom interview, and I got the job.
So I mean... In a way, you never know. But by and large, in most instances, you're probably better off not going with a cat suit. Unless you're auditioning for a movie.
Like cats, for example.
Like cats, for example. I rest my case. Uni, speaking of bandwidth, good. I've also heard of don't have the capacity to help. Yes.
It means the same thing.
Very similar to bandwidth. Capacity, another term we get from the tech world.
And CC does mean carbon copy.
CC, yes, carbon copy. There's an old business term or kind of office term. A carbon copy means back in the old days, before even photocopiers, if you wanted to make a copy of a document you were typing, you would take a thin piece of black paper made of carbon and called carbon paper and put it between two white pieces of paper in your typewriter. Then you type your document on the top page, a white page. You have the carbon in the middle, and it automatically makes an impression of everything you type on the bottom page.
So
cool.
Cool.
You finish typing, you pull it out, you have two copies.
Carbon copy.
Carbon copy.
Wow.
Great. And let's throw you guys a discussion question too here. Take a short break from the vocab, give you a discussion question, thinking about business now. And we realize not everyone is involved in the business world. Technically, we're not involved in the business world. We just dress that way. But here's our question. If you were to start a business, what would it be? Don't necessarily think in terms of practicality, something that would definitely make money. Think that this is what we call a vanity business or a boutique business, a business that is as much a hobby for you as it is a practical means of making money. Your money's taken care of. This is kind of a vanity or a boutique business. What would it be, David, if you were to start a business? And I said, I'll take care of all the overhead. I'll take care of the hiring.
Okay, all right.
What business would it be?
I don't know, maybe a bookstore.
Sure.
Like a used bookstore.
Sure, yeah.
And it would also be a place where people could come and like do open mics, like little poetry performances or music performances, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of my best memories as a child were going to used bookstores with my mom. So probably there's something sentimental there that
Sure.
would be nice to, yeah.
No, I got to believe that if you have a sentimental connection to your business, then that's going to be good for everyone involved. That if it's just a money-making opportunity, then, it's good to make money, but that's, when the going gets tough, might be a little harder to sustain it if you don't have that heart connection like David has for his bookstore. And I'm sorry, it's our friend again whose name...
This is a really good point.
Yeah.
Xerox.
Can I use Xerox instead, you ask? Great question. Xerox is a term, it's a company name, of course, as you may or may not know, but it became so closely connected with photocopying that Xerox itself came to mean the act of photocopying.
Just like Google.
Just like Google, yeah.
Like Google is the search engine that everybody uses for almost everything. So then searching something on the internet just became Googling it. The company name became a verb. Same with Xerox.
Yeah. So yeah, you can use Xerox, but Xerox isn't quite as dominant in the field as they used to be.
Yeah, it's
nowadays.
a little bit old. It sounds a little bit old school if you say it now.
Yeah. I mean, people would probably know what you meant, but you're probably better off saying photocopying or just copying, because that's so much a part of our lives nowadays that it's not as unique as it used to be, and so the word for it doesn't have to be as unique as it used to be. Okay, let's go back to some vocab for you. Here's a good one. Here's a word that you hear in and outside of the business world: micromanage.
Yes.
David, what is micromanage?
It's my least favorite thing. If you have a manager who likes to micromanage, it means that they are constantly coming by your office or your cubicle, checking every single step of the process of something you're doing, and not really giving you any space or creative freedom.
Right. It's like they have you under a microscope and they are trying to manage every tiny step and decision that you make in the process, instead of just letting you run with it, giving you the job and say, okay, go and come back when you're done. It's tricky. It's a tricky thing, but it is something you will encounter in business and in offices, so at least there's a word for it. Micromanage. And Steve, hello, we have another comment. I think it would be a drawing learning business. Your business. The business you would start, Steve, would be a drawing learning business, because I want to teach people by drawing comic books and having conversations in English where we share our artwork together. Steve.
That's cool.
Start that business, man.
That's really cool.
That sounds great.
Sophie
Something
wants to
from
start
Sophie.
She wants to start a lovely cafe with homemade desserts. I would definitely let me know when you start it. I will come to your cafe.
He'll open his bookstore right next door.
Yeah.
So that you guys can have
I can get
cross
dessert.
traffic.
I can get desserts, and then I can bring books by your cafe. People can, it'd be nice.
Oh yeah, no, there's great potential there. I love it. JJ, a tour industry. Tour industry would be perfect for business. I got to agree, JJ. More and more these days, around the world, tourism is a thing. Because people are traveling, it's easier to travel. The standard of living compared to about 100 years ago is higher, so people have more time to travel, more time to visit places just for fun, just as tourists. And so, yeah, the tourism industry, there's a good thought, I think. Agatha, secondhand toys and children. A children's bookshop, I bet that is. Secondhand toys and children's bookshop. That's great, Agatha.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. All right, got time for just a few more vocabulary here. Balls in the air. And again, this is a phrase. Balls in the air means, that's from juggling, like a circus juggler, where he's got the balls juggling and he's keeping them in the air more than he could hold like in his hands at the same time. He's juggling like 3 or 4 balls at the time, keeping them all in the air and making sure they don't fall. And so when you hear that in a business sense, that means, I've got all these projects and I gotta, there's a like, I'm almost beyond my capacity. I'm almost beyond my bandwidth because I'm not just holding them up, I'm juggling them. I gotta keep them moving in order to not let any of them drop. And so it's a way to express, again, being busy. A lot of expressions in business tend to tell about how busy you are, having bandwidth or keeping things on the back burner, keeping me in the loop, balls in the air. That's what that means. And here's another one that Dave just learned about prior to this live stream. Run it up the flagpole. David, what does run it up the flagpole mean?
If you run something up the flagpole, it basically means you throw an idea out to some people and see whether or not they will accept it. This is kind of an older phrase. It comes from this idea of raising a flag and seeing if anyone salutes the flag, seeing if anyone cares. So it's a little bit of an older phrase, but it basically just means present an idea and see if anyone wants to run with it or accept it and try it out.
Right. There's a longer expression that says run it up the flagpole and see if anyone salutes it. Like we salute a flag. Again, an expression that came out of an earlier generation or generations than it would today. In fact, you found a more current sort of version of that, didn't you? What was it?
Send up a trial balloon.
A trial balloon, yes. A trial meaning a test, an attempt, see how it goes. But Steve, you get the last word here. I was doing a final major project when I was on my research institute at a university in Singapore, and balls in the air that I didn't have time to take a rest because he had so many balls in the air.
I hope you can rest now, Steve.
Good use, Steve. And that's, again, one of our points here is how these expressions from the business world will also find application in your own lives, regardless of whether you're involved in business or not. We are involved in the business of helping you learn your English, and I'm afraid that we've come to the end of that time today, so we gotta say bye-bye for now. Think about those new businesses you might try. Remember, or in fact, let me tell you for the first time, that next week is a holiday.
That's right.
I hope we all know. So next Monday, we will not be here. We will be here Tuesday, though. So we're not taking the whole week off. We'll be back here Tuesday, and we'll just continue in the business of helping you practice your English.
That's right.
Thanks for your participation. Good to hear from you all. Keep practicing that English. Keep those balls in the air, and have a good week.
See you later.